Welcome to On the Point Podcast, a podcast for all things Overwatch with a heavy focus on League, discussing roster moves, weekly matchup, and 3 weeks worth of content because we both kind of took a vacation there.
I was on a boat.
I was off not giving a fuck. I needed the break. It was nice.
Understandable.
It was nice. I love you all, and I love doing this podcast, and also the break was nice.
Yeah, other things happen, and sometimes you just need to stop for a little bit.
And sometimes your day job takes all of your energy and you just want to collapse and not move in the evenings. Before this gets too real, hi, I'm Katie. I'm the support main.
I'm CJ. I'm the tank main.
And we do this.
Yes, we do. We say words about Overwatch that ostensibly have some meaning.
So let's get this madness started. We're just going to run through 3 weeks of results, and we are going to then look at trends and standout matches because, let's be real, these were all fun to watch, but not all of them need to be talked about extensively.
No, especially when there's 3 weeks of them. And I'm going to insist right fucking now, we are staying on topic. We're not doing this 2.5 hours. We're not doing this 3 hours. We're doing this shit fucking my way.
I guarantee you nothing. Let's go.
Okay, starting off stage 3, Shock versus Atlanta Reign. Shock picks up the win 3-2. Then Florida Mayhem versus Seoul Dynasty. Seoul picks up that 4-0. Guangzhou Charge versus Chengdu Hunters, with Guangzhou pulling out the 3-1 win.
Which I don't think is what... I think we both picked Chengdu, didn't we?
I think.
We didn't have a chance to go back and do that, so we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah, we'll pick up the batting averages next week. We're kind of...
Yeah. We're just rolling.
Up next, LA Valiant versus Shanghai Dragons. Shanghai picks up the 3-1. Paris Eternal took out the Toronto Defiant with a 3-1 victory. London Spitfire knocked the Boston Uprising flat on their asses with a 4-0. Houston Outlaws versus NYXL, with NYXL squeaking by with a 3-2.
Which was exciting to watch, let me tell you.
Less exciting was the Gladiators knocking Fuel senseless 4-0.
Well, less exciting for you.
Fuck off, you're in my house. Using my mic.
Yeah, okay, that was Pride Day, so I was there in purple and ace colors watching my team win. That was fun.
Oh, is it fun watching your team fucking win on Pride Day?
Yes!
Is it?
Yes, it is! Yes, it is!
Kiss my ass. Anyway.
I don't wanna.
Fair. Hangzhou Spark versus Philadelphia Fusion. Hangzhou gets the 4-0. Vancouver Titans versus Atlanta Reign. Vancouver gets the 3-1. Seoul Dynasty versus Guangzhou Charge. 4-0 in favor of Seoul. Valiant takes out Chengdu 4-0. NYXL does the same to London Spitfire. Another 4-0 in favor of New York. Paris Eternal takes on Boston Uprising, takes them out 3-1. Justice versus Fuel. Fuel picks up the 3-0 win. I have it wrong on my notes, but I know what the score is. Vancouver Titans takes out the Gladiators 3-1, and that is the first week.
Which was a little wild and saw a couple of things that we weren't expecting, but for the most part stayed the course.
Well, that's a lot of stage 4, really. Or stage 3, really.
Are you seeing the future?
I mean...
What's in stage 4?
If some rumors are to be believed.
Have you been reading the manga? Do you have manga spoilers for this anime that we're watching?
I might.
All right. Week 2.
Houston Outlaws versus San Francisco Shock. Houston picks up a 3-2 win. Shanghai goes up against Atlanta Reign and takes them down 3-2. Dallas Fuel goes up against the Chengdu Hunters, and Chengdu takes them out 3-1. Hangzhou versus Vancouver leads to a 3-1 Vancouver victory. NYXL goes up against Paris Eternal, picks up a 3-1 win for themselves. London does the same against Toronto Defiant with another 3-1 win. Boston Uprising versus Houston Outlaws, and Houston delivers a 4-0 beating. The Los Angeles Gladiators versus Philadelphia Fusion results in Gladiators getting a 3-1 win. Washington Justice versus Hangzhou Spark ends with Hangzhou getting a 3-0 win. Seoul Dynasty versus Atlanta Reign. Seoul picks up a 4-0 win. Fuel versus Titans ends the way it always seems to, with Vancouver taking a 4-0 win. Guangzhou Charge versus LA Valiant. Valiant picks up a 3-1 win. Shock getting back into winning form up against Seoul Dynasty, taking the Dynasty out behind the woodshed 4-0. Florida Mayhem versus Paris Eternal. Paris picks up that 3-1 win. Fusion goes up against the Uprising, and Boston does not rise up and instead goes down to Philadelphia 2-1. Washington Justice goes up against Los Angeles Gladiators, and the Gladiators ask the crowd, "Are you not entertained?" with a 4-0 win.
It's a shield. It's a shield. Sometimes you adopt a team, and sometimes you hit them over the head with a shovel. And that's what happened.
All right, bringing it home. Week 3. San Francisco Shock takes out the Boston Uprising 4-0. Paris Eternal loses against Houston Outlaws. Houston picks up that 3-1 win. Hangzhou Spark goes against Dallas Fuel and picks up a 3-0 win for themselves. The Valiant avenge their loss against the Dragons with a 3-1 victory. We have Spitfire versus NYXL, with NYXL once again getting a 3-2 victory. San Francisco Shock versus Florida Mayhem ends with Shock taking a 4-0 win home for themselves. Gladiators versus Shanghai. Shanghai gets a 3-1 win. Chengdu Hunters versus Vancouver Titans. Vancouver Titans get a 3-1 victory. The London Spitfire take out the Washington Justice 2-1. Atlanta Reign goes up against Philadelphia Fusion and ultimately comes up short with another 3-2 loss, which seems to be kind of the thing they're doing this stage.
Yeah.
Toronto Defiant goes up against the Guangzhou Charge and gets ran over 4-0. The Hangzhou Spark kick the Seoul Dynasty in the pants with a very close 3-2 win.
We have to talk about that one in more detail when it comes around. That was bonkers.
Chengdu Hunters versus Dallas Fuel ends with Chengdu improving on their previous 3-1 and getting a 4-0. Boston Uprising goes up against the Paris Eternal, but the Eternal do not withstand the test of time and fall to Boston's 3-2 reverse sweep.
The Sweep Masters look like they're coming back.
Fucking backwards janitors, man. Houston Outlaws go up against Florida Mayhem, and Florida takes the 3-1 win.
For their second win this season.
And then for a team receiving their first loss this season, the LA Valiant pick up the first victory over the Vancouver Titans ever in regular stage play with a 3-1 win.
In case anyone's wondering, yes, I cried. I wasn't there, and I regret not being there, and my joke about, no, I'm not going on Sunday, I'm not a masochist, and then I cried. It was, woo.
Every team I care about lost.
Yeah, I know.
Well, actually, no. I've kind of become a Boston fan despite being a New Yorker just because they have so many players that I really like. So I root for this incarnation of Boston.
You're just kind of a fan of blue teams. Specific flavors of blue.
Well, in my defense, Fuel used to be Envious, which was gray and white. The Vancouver Titans used to be the pink team. And Boston didn't exist before, so you got me on that one.
I'm just saying, there's a pattern here.
Yeah.
This, good lord, just this past Sunday was insane.
That was a fucking event.
Good lord. Like, I mean, Chengdu versus Dallas, given how Dallas has been playing this stage, was kind of, I hate to say a foregone conclusion, but those other 3 matches were nuts.
They were, and I do want to touch on Fuel because I have some brief trends written out for some of the different teams and my analysis and what I think is kind of the general consensus for a lot of these things, which is Dallas Fuel. They're a team that clearly has the talent to succeed, and a lot of people say that they're like, that people will accuse Arrow of like overcoaching them or saying that the coaching staff just isn't doing their jobs in one way or another. But the thing is, when they go into these games, you can see that they have a plan in mind. They have a strategy, but the problem is when that plan doesn't work, they kind of fall apart. Their individual play can be really impressive at times, but they don't seem to have in-game leadership. And I've referenced this before on the podcast, but there's this quote from when Mike Tyson was the scariest thing in boxing, where people talk about, like, you know, the game plan that a fighter had up against him. I forget the exact context of the quote, but he said that everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. And ultimately, Dallas seems to have a glass jaw when that punch comes.
See, I just keep thinking of no plan survives first contact with the enemy.
Well, sometimes it does. The problem is once the enemy puts up stiff enough resistance, the Dallas feel kind of seems to come apart at the seams there.
Has that changed with subbing in Trill? Because at one point, I believe last week, OGE was sick, and Trill started against Hongsho. So, he's going up against Gushui, which is...
Unko had an eye infection. That's where they played Harry Hook. With OG, like, I've heard conflicting reports of him being sick or him being burnt out and frustrated and needing a break, because OG definitely, like, not the same thing as Effect, where it's like, put the team on my back and get shit done, or I suck. But it seems to he tries hard and seems to take losses, with a fair bit of frustration.
He was tweeting at the time that he felt ill, like stomach problems, but that could be actually sick, or that could be physical manifestation of that level of stress.
It's one of those things of either it's stress, him needing a break, or just him being sick, or maybe they wanted to try something new.
Regardless, I loved watching Alyssa's "Play Trill, you coward" sign come true.
Yeah, no,
which was hysterical.
And Trill is awesome, and I think that Trill is a very good player who I think once he's fully incorporated into the roster, it'll be good. But I think at present, there's still kind of a disconnect with him and the rest of the team in some places, because he's a new addition and they haven't gotten to scrim with him that much.
And going up against Gushui is a trial by fire, especially with the way Spark have been this stage.
Oh, yeah.
They got over their stage fright. Mm-hmm. They are in it to win it.
Yeah, and Trill also said on Twitter that with Contenders, a lot of it kind of felt like run at the enemy, have a loose idea of the plan, but with Overwatch League, there's so much more strategic depth that it's difficult, and it's a learning curve for him as well. And so I think once he gets used to it and the team gets used to him, we might see a change in things. But ultimately, Dallas' problem right now, and Sideshow also said something of the like on his stream when I was staying up to watch the Fusion University versus Runaway game at 3 in the fucking morning.
You're not the only one. I didn't, but I know a number of people did.
Yeah, well, it's two really, really good teams. But basically, he seems to agree that their in-game leadership is kind of lacking. They need someone to take charge and keep everyone on the same page and strategize on the fly while the game is going on, and not just, because ultimately I think that's the Fuel's problem. It's once they hit a wall, and they don't know how to get around it.
They need a shot caller who can pick up the pieces and direct the team.
Yeah, and whether Trill steps up into that role as he grows accustomed to the stage and the team, or whether that comes in bringing in Taimu, as a lot of fans ask for, because Taimu used to be the shot caller for Envious, and he is someone who I think has a really deep knowledge of the game. Only time's going to tell how that's going to go.
Only Taimu's going to tell.
I mean, I don't think he has a say in the matter, unfortunately.
Look, appreciate the stupid pun and move on. Come on.
Well,
you missed me.
You missed me. My next bullet point is called a valiant effort.
Yeah.
So, new additions to the team look really good for the Valiant now that they've kind of had some time to get them incorporated into the structure, that they have time to sort of get used to playing on stage. Fact Fiction's getting caught out away from the team less than Fate was, and the team does a better job of following up on his aggression. Whatever that kind of disconnect was kind of seems to have been repaired. They have kind of tightened that up. Using DPS heavy comps is proving out to be very good for the Valiant. It's letting them make use of the strengths of their roster, but Agilities also seems to have improved on Brig a little bit. He's not running a soup kitchen on the front line anymore.
And can we talk about Shax on Sombra?
Oh, Shax is awesome on Sombra, and the moment I saw them playing him on it, I'm like, oh shit, here we go.
I mean, on one hand, I miss Space, and on the other hand, him flying out of backstage to hug them after they won. Poor Kareev looked terrified.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about Kareev on Ana? Oh my god, 30-something sleeps over the course of that game?
What I'm going to say is watch some pre-Overwatch League stuff with Immortals after Kareev joined with them. This doesn't surprise. This is a very high-level performance that I'm like, damn, but I'm not, in the words of Nate Diaz, I ain't surprised, motherfuckers.
And this is what I want to roll out for everyone who's like, well, the Valiant are trying to do an all-Western team, so they're eventually going to trade Kariv. Guys, the recipe for success in every Gamer Snacks includes a Kariv. Yeah. Obviously, this is the case here. He made some clutch plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I wonder, have they just banished Izayaki into the Phantom Zone? Because he didn't even really, come out on stage after the win.
I don't know. I don't follow his Twitter, so I don't know what he's doing. It's possible he's on vacation, visiting home, not feeling well. He could be anywhere. But I don't think this is a case of, well, you're no longer part of the meta, we're going to bench you. I don't know. They haven't made a big deal about it, and therefore I'm not worried.
Yeah.
But I don't think the rumors about, well, the Valiant are going to go entirely Western are true. I have major doubts about that.
Yeah, I don't think so, but whatever happens, they're looking better now, and let's see if they can keep it up.
Hell yeah.
Up next, Outlaws.
What are you doing?
Oh, what I'm going to say right now is, I fucking said they needed to stop trying to force Zengoat's mirrors. And what happens when they stop doing that?
They start winning.
And what happens when they start playing DPS comps and playing to the strengths of their roster rather than forcing themselves into positions that they're not good at, despite the fact that, basically there's no patch that instantly just killed the viability of GOATs. It's the teams are now sort of finding their identities and being willing to try new shit because Shanghai is making things work. Chengdu, to varying degrees, is making things work. And
that was always why they were so entertaining to watch in the first two stages, because they wouldn't play GOATs, and they did okay.
Yeah, the thing is, ultimately, a metagame is the, generally agreed consensus best strategies, but they're not the only ones that work. And while I think, playing in a competitive environment where the stakes are very high does make you risk-averse to a certain extent, and definitely kind of squashes a little bit of experimentation, especially on the stage itself.
And I would say that risk-averseness starts at the top with the owner, and then comes down to the coaches and the players.
Yeah. So my point here is that teams need to be willing to experiment and find their identities a little bit, because not everyone's going to be good at everything. And we've seen a lot of teams that are better in DPS metas than GOATs, and others that are better in GOATs than DPS. Though frankly, and I know that I sound like a broken record saying this, despite the problems with GOATs meta, it is so important, I think, in the history of Overwatch, because no meta has foregrounded team compositions using your team coordination, using your ultimates and cooldowns. Nothing has required you to play as smart to make it work at the highest possible level. You need to be on your shit.
True.
Anyway, tangent aside, Outlaws doing a better job of playing as a unit as well, and they're not forcing themselves into these constant Zen-Goats mirror matchups that ignore their strengths as a team entirely, like I said. They play Sombra Goats, that had already looked good for them before, and they've only gotten better with it. And now they've added a variety of DPS comps into the mix that let, the big guns on their roster make themselves known. They've still got a way to go before they're at that, elite tier, but they've finally found kind of what works for them as a team, and they're doing what they should have been doing for ages. And now that they're doing it, fuck yeah.
I think, honestly, part of this change is, what do they have to lose? Their organization got sold. They're being managed by a satellite corporation because Immortals isn't allowed to directly manage them. They're completely at the bottom, but they're pretty damn close. They had an 0-7. The fuck do they have to lose? Might as well go with what we're known for. Roll out the Pharaoh, roll out the Jake Rat, roll out Linkser on every DPS hero that he can murder people with. Let's just go. Let's just do it. It can't get worse.
Yeah, sometimes.
And then it didn't. It got a lot better. And then Florida. What the fuck happened?
Shockingly, when you do things you're good at, instead of things you're not good at, you do better.
That still doesn't explain Florida. I don't know what the fuck happened during that match.
Yeah, I think part of it, I need to rewatch it to really get a look at it. But I think some of it came down to Florida playing way above what Houston was expecting.
What anyone was expecting.
Yeah. And
would you call it a trap game?
I don't know if I'd call it a trap game, but I feel like Houston being cocky, Florida being hungry, and kind of studying what they're doing.
Also, I think Mercury was in retrograde on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Kind of.
Like, shit was weird on Sunday.
Speaking of Sunday, Vancouver.
Yeah.
Vancouver are varying up their comps more than they have in the past, and it doesn't really seem to be working for them. They don't look as coordinated on these other compositions. When they're doing like ball DPS comps, they look a little more scattered. When they're doing Sombra Goats, they're a little more scattered. But ultimately, the thing that makes this confusing to me is that Zen Goats is still super viable. Ana Goats is still super viable. And you can play that at the highest level and succeed. But they're choosing to run Sombra Goats and DPS-heavy comps more than their 3-3 bread and butter. And these comps don't look nearly as practiced, and the players don't look look entirely comfortable in their new places. Like, Janu Zarya is just not as good as Soyman Su's at present, and Soyman Su is still kind of struggling to find his footing on the Sombra. And the end result is that you've got a Titan squad that looks more vulnerable than ever. And it's good to practice new comps and to make sure that you adapt to the meta and that your team isn't like a patch team, which sometimes happens in esports. But at the same time, these strategies don't look like they've received the polish they need to be stage ready. And I think that...
Should Slime be swapped in to play the Sombra?
You mean Stitch or Hawk?
Stitch. I'm losing my mind.
You mean Stitch or Hureg?
Yeah. I one-syllable S players with I's in their name. I got nothing.
Honestly, I think Stitch coming in to play the Sombra isn't a bad idea. I don't dislike it, especially because back in the day he was their Tracer player when they were on Runaway. And he was very, very good at it. He was their hit scan specialist. He was the one who could break out McCree and Widowmaker and Tracer at a very high level and do some work with it.
And we've seen him do that in League before.
Yeah, and his Zari is good enough that if you need to swap over, you can do that. And I don't... Like, Soymansu's a better Zarya, but Stitch is not a bad one. So I think that having him come in, I think Sombra's a little more in his wheelhouse than Soymansu's. I think it'd be worth experimenting, maybe trying in scrims to kind of see how that plays. But in general, I think they need to practice this more and maybe just kind of go back to what works for them, because they clearly get this meta better than anyone else, and they have a level of confidence playing this that lets them, like... The best way I can kind of describe it is when someone does something that would normally be stupid, just the rest of the team has the follow-through and confidence in each other to make it work.
This is why Bumper is such a great tank on this team.
Yeah, everyone...
Because Bumper does some crazy shit, but everyone around him is able and accustomed to just picking up and running with it.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of their biggest strength as a team, is they have a tremendous amount of synergy, and they have a tremendous amount of confidence in each other. Let them build that up on these other compositions before you really kind of throw that into the deep end, and I think they'll be better for it. But right now, I don't think going back to more GOAT-centric play for them is a bad idea.
And the other question is, now that their winning streak is broken, now that their undefeated in regular play reputation is gone, like, they're still one of the best teams in the league, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Is the pressure off now? Now that it's, well, we're no longer unbeaten, we no longer have a streak to maintain, we no longer have whatever. Is it slightly less high pressure for the Vancouver Titans now that they're a little more human, like every other team?
I honestly don't think that makes one lick of difference for them. And the reason is, look at their history as Runaway.
This is true.
They have gone to the top of the mountain and stalled out so many fucking times.
Including last stage.
Yeah, the reason that they are as resilient a team as they are, and why you can never count them out, is because they are as hardened a team as you can find in Overwatch in terms of just not tilting or not being afraid, or not feeling the pressure. Like, and even Shock, when they were playing up against them in that Stage 2 final, one of the little clips they show of, like, between match comms, Shock wins a map, and, they're kind of celebrating, and Moth is like, guys, bring it down. They've been here a million times before. We need to keep focused. Like,
yep.
And that, I think, is why them losing, it might motivate them more and make them, like, kind of redouble their efforts or rethink their approach a bit. But I don't think that it necessarily is going to signal a big shift in their mentality.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these teams, when we see one of the higher tier teams lose, they turn around and wreck everyone in their path afterwards.
Yeah.
We saw Shock lose to the Outlaws, and then they turn around and 4-0'd their next 2 matches.
Yeah, and, well, I think part of that was the Shock also being rusty, because you saw that first game against Atlanta. That was rough.
Yeah.
That was rough.
The stage break did wonders for some teams and no favors for others. It was great for the Outlaws. It was great for the Valiant. My God, having Factin has made such a difference.
Yeah, and, I mean, I talked him up when they brought him in for a reason.
He's such a good human.
He is. I really love Fact Fiction, and I'm glad that he's back on an Overwatch League team.
Yes! I had the chance to interview him when he was on the Outlaws, and he knows his shit.
Oh, yeah. No, he's very high IQ in-game, and just, by all accounts, a very nice person.
Yeah.
And finally, Florida looked a little better each time out during this stage. These improvements, I think, were probably more marginal than people were either expecting for or hoping for, given the new all-Korean roster. But they looked less hopelessly outgunned than they had previously. It's finally netted them a win, and we'll see if this pattern kind of carries on in Stage 4, and we'll see if they can, end a stage with more than one win. Because so far, they got 1 win in Stage 1, 0 in Stage 2, and they've got 1 in Stage 3.
Yeah.
They have now, and I want to stress this because this is fucking remarkable. They now have less franchise wins in the entirety of their history than the Dragons. And the Dragons had an 0-40 season.
Yep. They didn't have a very good first season either. So at this point, in much the same way that we wanted a red and yellow match last season, I want to see another red and yellow match this season. I know that Justice beat them last time. I want to see what happens now that both of them have had a little bit of time to work on things. I know there's that Janu kind of playing 420 mode here with being 20th in everything.
You mean Janus?
Janus. Why do they all have the same names?
Well, the thing is, with Korean, it's pronounced Janus, but yeah. I can't make myself say it that way despite effort because it's named after the fucking Roman god Janus.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
I've just been fucking them up left, right, and center because it's like, you can tell, for me, I know how much I like a team by whether or not I can listen to the broadcast and know what's happening. Like, I can listen to a Valiant game, a Spark game, probably about half the teams I can listen, and they're saying, oh, this player does this player does that, and I'm like, all right, this player's on this team and they play this role. I was listening to, I don't even remember who it was. I think it was Guangzhou, and no, it wasn't Atlanta. Guangzhou and someone, and it was all just like, I know these are players, I don't know who's on what team, and I don't know what roles they play. Okay, this is not a good listening game for me.
Yeah.
Also, it doesn't, it depends on the casters, and that's...
Yeah, and it definitely is a different experience depending on who's casting a game. As
much as I dislike Monty's holier-than-thou persona, he and Doa are damn good at their jobs.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'd say they're the best couple that Overwatch League has, followed very closely by Uber.
Uber
and Mr. X.
Monty and Doa have also been doing it the longest.
Yeah.
Although I will say Wolf and Achilleos I very much like.
Yeah, they're getting further up there for me.
Yeah, no, like they're a pair that I've always liked because Achilleos is a really good hype man who brings energy, very fast play-by-play, and also knows what he's talking about. But Wolf really has pretty deep in-game knowledge for a lot of things.
Basically, yeah, most of the caster couples for the Overwatch League are really good, and for me, really helpful if you can only listen to the game while you're doing things like driving or working.
Yeah. But returning to Florida Mayhem, we will get a full picture, I think, of how this roster looks, their final form. Now that they've had some time to come together, they've picked up a few more pieces that maybe the shuffle ain't quite done yet. But I think stage 4 will kind of get to see the master plan of Bare Hands come together one way or the other.
Now, remind me, are they one of the teams traveling to Atlanta? I think they are.
Well,
I feel like they are. Well,
they are.
Well, this is next week's. This isn't the week after. So I'm pretty sure they're next. Yeah, this weekend is not the. It's not the Atlanta thing yet. I forgot the term for it, but fuck it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that I think we should touch on some of these completely bonkers ass matches that we had over these past 3 weeks.
Houston versus Shock, definitely worth watching for the upset and kind of just seeing how things, pretty much just seeing what Houston's doing right and Shock is not doing right.
In case anyone wants to know how many times I have cried on the metro on the way home because my teams are doing well, we're now up to twice. Once for the Valiant's first win this stage, and once for Houston being crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, the play in that's great. Another one that's super high level and very tightly contested the entire game. NYXL versus London. That was a fucking awesome match that had a variety of comps, went to game 5, and it was so back and forth. It was nuts.
This was almost a victim of the Team Day curse.
Yeah.
Because we are getting... At this point, we have a pattern. And Krista pulled the numbers for me, which I really appreciate. Thank you, Krista. She had these all written down. 6 teams have won on their Team Day. 10 teams have lost. And we have 4 more teams that have yet to have a Team Day. So it could either be completely even if all 4 of these teams win, or we could have the beginnings of an Overwatch League curse.
Yeah.
Which I find hysterical.
Yeah, I do too. It's amusing to kind of see coming together, and we'll see if the pattern holds.
And it sucks to get beaten on your Team Day, in much the same way that it sucks to get beaten during your homecoming game. Like, it's supposed to be a special event for you, but you can't expect the other team to roll over and play dead.
Nope, you gotta show up.
And sometimes you show up and the other team wins anyway. It's rough. It's rough to be in the arena for your day, and then it's like, oh, this is going to end real badly.
Yeah. Well, speaking of teams losing on Spirit Day, Valiant versus Titans.
Yep.
If you want to see Valiant executing very well on a whole bunch of their comps, you want to see the end of an epic streak, you want to see kind of... I don't want to say a how not to, but watching how the Titans run some of their comps versus how Valiant and other teams do, seeing those differences can kind of give you some ideas of what separates, good from great attempts at those compositions. Check it out.
It's a hell of a game.
Mm-hmm. And finally, Boston versus Paris.
The reverse sweep returns.
Yes.
The reverse sweep returns.
Moonwalking with a broom.
I think one that we didn't put on there that needs to be is Hongshou versus Seoul.
Yeah, that was a really good one. That was awesome.
Because this was my list, and this was abbreviated because I was putting it together when I had very little time. But this, I think, is because we've seen that Seoul at this point has enough players to have 2 completely different lineups. This is the first time that Seoul has gone at halftime and completely swapped their lineups, 100%. We've seen some subs from teams, that's normal, but a complete 6-person sub in an attempt to table flip on the Hongshou and win the match was crazy, and you could see that Hangzhou was not prepared for that dynamic shift.
Yeah.
And who would be?
And I think that, like, for a lot of teams, like, there was a lot of talk going to stage 1 about the advantages of having, a core team that you kind of built around and then could kind of swap pieces in and out of if, you should if you should build your team small or big. And it kind of seemed to settle that, like, the 8 to 10 range was the butter zone. But Seoul is, I think, really kind of showing what having a very deep roster of players can ultimately look like if you can incorporate all of them. Because London Spitfire had, at the start of Season 1, the teams that were considered to be the consensus first and third best teams in Korea. And that was their roster, was 12 of the best players in the most competitive region in the world. And they ultimately just kind of cut half of them. They didn't do anything with most of them. But Seoul really is finding a way to integrate all of these different elements and find them their place on the team. Although, to be fair, it's not always successful. Like, Fissure has talked about having some burnout and needing a break, and obviously, like, we can't speak to all the things that are going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But it's clear that he's frustrated with how things are working on his end. Because it seems like they play Marvel a bit more than him, and Marvel is doing a real fucking good job of it.
Yeah. And Fissure, for Season 1, the whole damn season was like the person, the tank to beat. Who's better than Fissure? No one. Like, that dude had a meme. And now it's, who's better than Fissure? Roar. Who's better than Fissure? Like, I would imagine it being difficult for him as a player, just in terms of his self-esteem and also playtime.
Especially,
and he wanted to be traded to Seoul so he could be on an all-Korean team, and I think not have to deal with the mixed language.
Yeah, that was what he had said, and I think part of it also kind of comes down to the fact of it's got to be really disheartening, like you were saying, of going from just being the most talked about guy in the league, one of the consensus best main tanks, a guy that everyone's like, this dude's a fucking boss, having this, the whole league was really like, there were only 2 people who were ever going to win MVP, and it was him and Jonak.
And we went with Jonak because he's terrifying.
Yeah, but the thing is, we hit the end of that season, and then the playoff thing happens. And then Fissure is getting a whole lot of backlash because not everyone knows what happened. And just the whole situation kind of was resolved messily, and it soured a lot of people on Fissure. And so he went from being the pretty much universally beloved to people either are still liking him, some of them think he's a dick, and some of them don't really care anymore. Yeah. And then you go into this new season with a really tank-heavy meta, and a lot of teams have had tank players really come into their own. You have guys like Fusions, or Bumper, or Gushue, or Super, who have all made really big names for themselves, have all played really, really well, and have all, like, pretty much kind of taken that acclaim that used to be Fissure's alone. Meanwhile, he just doesn't seem to be quite in step with his team for whatever reason, kind of like how Fate kind of wasn't quite locked in with the rest of his team. And I imagine that only amplifies that frustration, because it's like, you got what you wanted, it's not working out how you wanted it to. You're in a position now where you kind of, you've had people kind of turn against you in some facets, and then you also have just to deal with kind of the most frustrating thing, which is apathy. Well, people just aren't talking about him anymore.
He's also, this is kind of a poor way to say it, but I'm not sure of another way to say it, he keeps trading down. He went from London, who is I hesitate to be like the winningest team, because you can't ever discount NYXL.
Well, they're also mathematically not the winningest team, but
they are the stage 1 champions.
Well, they also got rid of him.
Yeah.
Like,
But what I'm saying is he went from that team to Gladiators, who got a hell of a lot better towards the end of season 1. They went from mid-tier to top tier.
Yeah.
And being like the mover and shaker for the team. Mm-hmm. I'd say him, Hydration, Big Goose, Surefour were like the big for the Gladiators.
Well, yeah.
And then went to Sol, who had a lot of promise at the beginning of season 1 and has been fairly solidly middle of the pack ever since, with the occasional, like, they've always been top of the middle tier or bottom of the top tier with some upsets thrown in.
B+.
B+. But he's been on some A and A+ teams.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine it's a hard situation personally.
Yeah.
And Sol definitely just like, well, we have 2 of each, so let's pick what we're doing. And again, it's a hell of a strategy to pull, and it was a hell of a surprise.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, it's working for Sol, but Fissure has gone from being a franchise star in the mold of like, and this is, my sports fan showing again, but in the mold of like a Derek Jeter, where he kind of became synonymous with, like, when you said Gladiators in that last season after he got traded, he became the crux in like everyone's eyes, because the turnaround when he was there was big, and the narrative really focused around the impact and influence that he had on this team. So he went from being a beloved franchise player to dealing with a whole lot of shit, and then coming back, and he's just not as important.
Yeah, they're starting Marvel more often than not. It's like, oh, Fissure's playing today. Huh. As opposed to who's better. Going from people saying that no one is better than you to, he's out. Cool.
Pretty much.
Welcome back to the stage. Like, tough times. It's a tough fall.
Yes.
Poor Fissure. Life is difficult sometimes.
It is. And esports is an unforgiving world sometimes.
Yeah, well, you got to figure out what you're doing after things change. Yeah, I don't know how to pick up from that.
I was just waiting for it. I was literally waiting for it.
I don't have anything else to say from that. I don't want to call it like, oh, he trades down. Oh, it's a fall from grace. So that, like, all of these really big dramatic things to say, that he's just not the focal player anymore. Because again, you ask about, oh, who do you think is the best known tank in the league? Bumper. Like 90% of people will say Bumper, and the rest of them will probably rattle off their team's tank or go for Super or possibly Gushwei or in stage 2 fusions.
Yeah,
like,
and
he's no longer the tank. He's just kind of in there somewhere.
But here's how you do this transition. We talk about how esports can be an unforgiving world, how it's rough sometimes, and how it's kind of, it's tough, and we can understand why Fissure's feeling down. But you know what makes you feel better when you're down? You know what isn't depressing? You know what isn't rough?
Cookies.
Fucking cookies.
Cookies, man. Cookies.
There you go. Lord of the Segway rides off into the sunset.
All right. As always, this podcast is sponsored by Fred's BS. Breads and spreads by Fred. Fred's BS is an LA local one-man baked goods business that offers unique flavors in small batches. Whether you're looking for homemade jams, brownies, blondies, or brown sugar buddies, the best cookies you've ever had, Fred's BS can provide. All products are made in small batches with fresh ingredients, nothing is ever frozen, and Fred provides a plethora of flavors that can't be found in stores, like the aforementioned brown sugar buddies or his Paradise Peach Strawberry Sunrise Jam. His Strawberry Peach Paradise Sunrise Jam.
Bit of a Jimmy Buffett fantasy.
There are no parrots involved. There are no cheeseburgers, but there is definitely paradise. Also, if you're LA local, you can choose pickup instead of delivery and get your goods even sooner. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why they call it a live read. We do it live. Head to fredsbs.com and use coupon code ONTHEPOINT for 20% off your entire order. That's fredsbs.com, fredsbs.com, and coupon code ONTHEPOINT. Fred's BS. Treat yourself, because you deserve it. So I talked with Fred today, and the website is going to be quiet for a while because he is redoing things. He is getting all of his orders figured out. He's redoing a couple things, so it's going to be down for a bit. Keep checking back. It will be back up in a soonish manner. Let me see if I have the details for that. Scroll. In the meantime, what's our next topic? Actually, wait, no, I've got it here. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah. So there will be a timeline later. For now, follow the Twitter and the Instagram. There will be more news there.
All right. Well,
Ta-da.
speaking of news, we now transition into talking about the news of the Overwatch League and the scene in general. Starting with some pretty big news.
Yeah.
Immortals buys Infinite Esports / Optic Gaming, the Outlaws parent organization. It is a huge acquisition of pretty much one of the biggest esports organizations in North America buying out one of the others. And they will temporarily, at least, manage the Outlaws until a new buyer / owner is found for their newly acquired Second Green brand.
And they're not managing them directly. I didn't get a chance to reread the press release recently, but I hesitate to say, it's a satellite corporation, but they're essentially managing them from a distance. They're getting someone who's not as directly involved or not directly involved with the Valiant at all to manage the Outlaws, because you can't own two teams. It's a conflict of interest.
Yes.
So, like I said, right now the Outlaws have nothing to lose because everything is crazy for them.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe their funding will be better right now.
I mean, it certainly looks to have changed things for the better.
Yeah.
Speaking of changes, Trill recruited to Dallas Fuel, as we talked about. He finally got to play his first match.
Again,
definitely trial by fire.
Welcome to the deep end.
Yeah. We've already gone over this, so I don't really think I need to go too much further into this. Mayhem with a whole slew of new pickups in the form of DPI, Gargoyle, and Karayan I've heard people say Karayan or Karayan. I'm not sure which one it is because I've heard casters pronounce it differently. From Korean...
It's Chips all over again.
No, I knew how to say Chips Hyen. I knew how to say Chips Hyen because the man fucking himself said it's Chips Hyen. The only person who got it wrong is Semler.
Oh, Semler, honey.
Yeah. They also picked up a player called Rain from the runners-up in Korean Contenders this past season, O2 Blast. And they have also picked up two coaches from Armament, Unread and KH1.
So I'm kind of laughing at this because last season, Florida had 6 players. No one ever got to sub out. No one ever got to rest. And this season, they're like, we have 15. It's fine. Everything's fine.
They have cycled and dropped, I think, more players than anyone else in the league now.
And that includes the Red Wedding that the Shanghai Dragons had at the end of Season 1. It's still not quite sure what Florida's doing, but picking up Fate was good for them. Picking up Fact was better for us.
Yeah, and I do wonder how Karayan's going to fit into the picture because he's a main tank player. Gargoyle...
Maybe they're looking to pull a soul.
Maybe. Gargoyle, I think, has a clearer picture. He's an off-tank player, good diva. I could see him kind of coming in place of Zephyr because we've talked a bit how Zephyr's performances can be up and down and are generally kind of unremarkable.
Yeah.
DPI is a DPS player, and Rain plays support.
All right. They've basically picked up a whole new team.
Like you do.
Like Soul does.
Yeah. More pickups. Valiant pick up Reprise as a new coach. He is formerly of Mayhem Academy. While the Gladiators pick up Faustus, who formerly worked with Sky Foxes and Contenders Europe Season 2 or Season 1 2019 winners, Angry Titans.
All right. Which is what Vancouver was after this match.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know this isn't all the news that has happened over the past 3 weeks, but I was not compiling all the news that happened over the past 3 weeks. So these are some of the big ones, but we know it's not everything.
And we've also talked about a lot of the changes and stuff just over the course of going through games and trends.
Yeah.
On top of that, though, we do have... And we're going to say again, as we do whenever we report rumors, take this with a grain of salt, because I certainly am.
Take this with a mountain of salt.
Yiska is reporting that there may be 2-2-2 roll lock for Overwatch League Stage 4. I will point out that there were rumors about this going into Stage 3. Didn't happen. There have been rumors about it intermittently for, a couple different times. Hasn't happened. And no one on Blizzard or... The report says multiple sources confirm, but until we see... I am firmly adopting I will believe it when I see it stance on this, because I don't think it's likely, nor frankly do I think at this juncture that it's smart.
Yeah, a lot of the call for 222 role lock was backlash against goats, because it's a meta that at this point people are tired of, which, all right, cool, fair. We've heard a lot of that from me too. But watching how Stage 3 has played out, and watching goats as a meta stop being, it must be this 6 characters. We're rolling in some Sombra, we're rolling in some Ana. Some teams have decided to just go vegan and not do goats at all. So I think that with the evolution that this meta is finally seeing, like everyone has learned the rules well enough to know how to break them.
It's kind of too late for this at this point.
This is no longer a remedy for goats. This is curtailing whatever else could possibly develop.
Yeah, because it means that a lot of those Wrecking Ball triple and quadruple DPS comps can't run that with 222 lock.
Yeah. You basically punt Chengdu out of the league.
Yeah.
Which would suck, because part of their appeal is that they're bonkers.
And also... For one, when in a game where hero swapping is kind of a design goal,
it's
basically.
a feature.
When it's a feature that the game was kind of built around.
Yeah.
I don't think that limiting that is the best option. Like, I was in favor of, because Overwatch used to be completely unlimited. You could have as many people of the same character on a team.
That's how you wound up with 6 Genjis. Nobody likes 6 Genjis.
Well, the meta for a while was 2 Winstons, 2 Tracers, 2 Lucios. It was fucking crazy.
That's nuts.
But basically, I don't like it because I think it stifles kind of development. But the thing is, and also I'm very opposed to changing fundamental rules of how a event or tournament is structured in the middle of it.
Yeah. I can see rolling out a patch between stages.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of thing where we're just updating a little bit of how the game works, and in advance, you have time to practice, etc.
And even then...
it doesn't completely flip the table.
Yeah. I feel like...
I mean, Brigitte did, but...
yeah.
I liked that. That was fun.
I feel like with this, it's it's too late. Basically what it would be included to counter is already kind of resolved itself. I don't think it's on its way out, but it's definitely not the only way.
Rigid adherence to Zen goats is on its way out.
Yes.
Is what I mean.
Okay. So there's that. There's I think the thing that makes this appealing for some people is the experience of playing the game in quick play or ranked. Especially because I know people got bored of watching goats on stage, but the thing that makes people stop playing Overwatch is how frustrating it can be to actually play the game when you go in and then suddenly 4 people lock DPS. And then you've just got this composition that you either turn into the spin and, do the Wrecking Ball and shit and try and make it work. But more often than not, it's just a clusterfuck with nobody trying to do anything. And 222 roll cap doesn't fix all the problems, but it does prevent that specific thing from happening. Though I am personally in favor of kind of a soft roll lock in the sense of roll Q, where you pick which thing you're going, what your main or what you want to play is. So you pick what you want, you queue up, and it'll match you with 222. But ultimately, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is locked to that and that you can't swap off if you so choose.
I mean, it's only a matter of time until people who want to play DPS stop queuing as DPS, because that's going to be the longest fucking queue, say they're going to be tanker support, and then not pick it. Like, it's an easily subverted system, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, I think that it does have a positive effect. Obviously, it doesn't fix all the problems. That goes way deeper. But it also, is less restrictive than a hard roll lock.
The other thing that might be fun to see is a hard roll lock as an arcade mode.
Yeah, I could see that. That could be fun, and honestly, that'd be not a bad way of testing it to see how that goes.
Yeah, put it in the PTR. I mean, I'm sure that people have already made it in
the workshop.
Thank you, in that. So, I'm okay with a roll lock in circumstances, but not for everything. Not for as much as I say I can only play quick play in arcade because I don't do comp. Well, yeah, I don't want to see a roll lock in quick play. Sometimes the weird shit's fun. A Mystery Heroes roll lock would be interesting.
That could be interesting to see.
Where you have a balanced team, but you don't know what roll you're going to wind up on. If someone else dies, if multiple people die at the same time, who even knows? That could be fun.
Yeah.
That might be a fun mode to make. Someone make that in arcade mode.
I can be
in a workshop. That'd be fun.
Yeah. But whether this will come to be on the Overwatch League stage, we shall see. My gut says no.
Yeah. I doubt it.
I think it would be a bad idea to implement it here, and I think it's unnecessary at this point in time.
Yeah, it's fixing a problem that's already fixed. Mm-hmm. That fixed itself. One thing I didn't put on the news that I should have, we got Batiste lore.
Yes, we got the new comic.
So it's actually a short story.
Oh, yeah, short story.
Yeah, and it's so much fun. I love how it's written. I cannot remember who wrote it, but I know I love her. I can't remember her name. But she just has these fun little touches scattered throughout the prose that I think really make it. At one point, they're infiltrating a mansion, and there's just one little bit that says, "The wallpaper was hideous." And I'm like, I love you. This is great. It's just those tiny little details in a story that sometimes really just drive it home.
Yeah, and I appreciated it also because as much as I like the world building and character stuff that Chu has done, his prose is kind of uninspired.
Yeah.
It's a little more flavor in here.
There is. You can see someone who is experienced as a writer, and I appreciate
specifically
the hell
a writer
out of
of
it.
prose.
Yes. And let's be real, we're getting Evil Maui as a hero at some point. I cannot remember his name, but they absolutely straight up and down described a tank hero, and we're getting him. There's no way we're not. The question then
I hope he
becomes,
gets a "You're Welcome" voice line now that you've put that in my brain.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. The question then becomes, who are we getting first, him or Sojourn? And what I appreciate...
Or the I forget her name, but the robot in the McCree.
Oh, yeah. God, it wasn't Eva, was it? It was something.
No, it looked like Eva.
It looked like Eva. Yeah. Oh, Oracle.
Oracle.
Deep pulls. Yeah. I would love to see Sojourn not necessarily next. I want her saved for the BlizzCon reveal.
That'd be cool.
I think it was Briggsy who originally suggested that and said that, yes, that should be the case. And I'm like, you know what? You are absolutely right. Sojourn should be our big BlizzCon hero reveal. Yeah. Give us one of the other characters in the meantime. If they're ready to go, let's do it. But Sojourn at BlizzCon. Let's go. Let's do it. You heard it here, Blizzard. Sign us up.
Yeah. So, predictions?
Predictions.
Okay. Up first, Hangzhou Spark versus LA Valiant. This one is an interesting one to look at.
My babies.
I'm going Hangzhou.
Here's my problem. They're both real good. Hangzhou has been consistently good. Mm-hmm. Valiant is currently riding a high.
Yeah, and it's a matter of because let's be real, aside from the Titans, most of the success that the Valiant have had has come against teams that I don't think people would put in the conversation for best in the league. Mid-table upper mid-table.
Yeah.
And with the Titans, I feel like it's misleading because the Titans playing against their strengths helped the Valiant get the win as much as Valiant's doing a very good job. So if they can keep it going past this against really good teams, I feel like that's kind of where we start to really get a gauge of just where they're at.
This is very much an example of great shot, kid, now don't get cocky.
Yeah, pretty much.
That said, I'm going to come down on the side of the Valiant. I want to see this continue.
Shocker.
And after, I don't always, you know that. A little more of a realist sometimes, but after seeing the plays from Shaxx and the plays from Kareev and seeing the difference that having Fact on the team makes.
Oh, yeah. It's a big one.
I really do think that they can pull this off. Eventually, they'll play McGravy. Eventually.
Yeah. I mean, I hope
see
so.
him
I
on
really like McGravy.
I do too. He's a good human.
Yeah. Up next, Paris Eternal versus Soul Dynasty. I'm going Soul.
You know what? I'm going to give it to Paris. They got something to prove.
They do. The question is, can they dig deep enough this quickly?
I mean, they've been doing okay this stage.
It's
Not
true.
the best, but okay.
No, they've definitely been doing...
so has Soul. Not the best, but okay.
They have been doing better, but I feel like the teams that Soul has beat say a little bit more... I say the teams that Soul has beat, and then that they've performed well against, say a little bit more about where they're at present.
True, but I also think now other teams are going to be more prepared for them now that they've pulled their hat trick against the Spark.
Yeah, but let's be real, they've also been swapping rosters in and out quite a bit.
True.
Like,
But now everyone knows that that's an option.
Yeah, but it was an option the whole time if you were watching, like, what they've been doing up to this point, because they had the A roster, they had the B roster. It might be the first time that they've kind of swapped between them entirely during a game, but that was always on the table.
But I think it's one of those, like, everyone prepares for both Soul rosters, but once one comes out, you kind of know what you're getting, and when the swaps come through, you kind of know what you're getting. Switching rosters completely is a mind game. And now that everyone knows that they're capable of that, it won't work as well again.
They still did have some times where they would swap out key players. Like, they've had times where they've swapped between Marvel and Fissure during a series before this.
I know, but, everyone does 1 or 2 person swaps.
Oh, yeah.
The 6th person is the one where you kind of have to recalibrate your brain for a minute there.
True,
And now, like I'm saying, now that that's no longer a surprise, like, it's one of those, everyone kind of knows it's an option, but no one expects it to happen. And now that it's happened, you are aware of it and you're mentally prepared.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. They're not going to get another big boom from that.
All I'm saying is that there's no way they did that without scrimming it.
No.
And thus, it probably shouldn't have been too huge of a surprise in the first place. Considering how often they've played with their rosters, considering how much they've probably scrimmed stuff over the course of the season. And I'm not saying people are leaking scrim results or anything, but it's just... they have been playing around with it so much that I don't think you should have taken anything off the table in that regard.
And what I'm saying is, I don't think that move is going to surprise anyone again.
I'm agreeing with you on that. I'm saying it probably shouldn't have to begin with. That's what I'm saying.
It's one thing to acknowledge everything is a possibility, and it's another thing to be like, holy shit, it's happening, and deal with it.
We're talking past each other.
I think we are.
San Francisco Shock versus Chengdu Hunters.
Shock.
Spitfire versus Valiant.
See, I'm going on Friday, and I'm like, I think we can win 2 of these 3 matches. Spitfire versus Valiant is the one where I'm kind of staring into the void going, all right, but which London is going to show up?
Yeah, though they have been more consistent lately than they have been. I feel like we're getting increasingly less mileage out of that joke.
Yeah, well, I'm still gonna... fuck it. Let's go with the Valiant. I know you're gonna go with London, but I'm
feeling London a little bit more on this. Just because I really don't know that Valiant is going to have an answer for Profit.
I don't either, but that's what makes this fun. We've only seen We've only seen Shaxx out on stage once.
Did you nearly call him Shit Shack? Like
no,
you're mumbling
I didn't.
While you're like correcting yourself.
No, I didn't. It almost became shock at one point. I'm like, that is incorrect. My brain stopped there for a minute.
Anyway, Toronto Defiant versus the LA Gladiators. Going Gladiators.
Shields up.
Outlaws versus Justice. Going Outlaws.
As much as I want to see the Justice do better, not for this one.
Fuel versus NYXL.
New York.
New York.
New York.
Prove me wrong. Boston Uprising versus Philadelphia Fusion.
You know what? If Boston plays like they did against Paris, let's do Boston.
Yeah, I kind of wanted. I want it to be Boston, and like the thing is, I know that I've been perpetually down on Philly because I feel like they're never living up to what they could be.
I mean, if they just play Fraggy,
that's part of it. But like, I think I'm gonna go with Philly on this, just because I think in terms of DPS firepower, I think that Fusion's got an edge there. And if they play into that strength, I don't know that Boston's necessarily going to keep up. Despite the fact that Blase and Color Hex are very good, they're up against Carpe and EQL.
This is true.
And I feel like that's going to be the linchpin here.
Honestly, I think this match is just a coin flip.
Yeah, it's one of those things of both teams have had moments where they look really good and have looked really bad.
These are both the teams that exist in all tiers at once. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, could be anything. Could be anything.
Up next, Mayhem versus Hangzhou.
Hangzhou. Mayhem's doing better, but not that good.
I mean, we'll see.
Again, Mayhem's doing better, but not that good. Outlaws have been so completely fucking wild. Outlaws is being like Rain right now. Sometimes they're really good and upset things, and sometimes it's like, what on God's green earth are you doing?
Yeah.
And again, it beats the hell out of the 0-7, but Outlaws is unpredictable right now. So very much like Atlanta, which means that beating them or losing to them isn't always necessarily an indicator of the other team's strength.
Yeah. Up next, Shanghai versus Guangzhou.
Shanghai. Guangzhou is just, it feels like such a vanilla team.
They haven't
what is their personality?
They haven't looked impressive after stage 1.
Yeah, they just seem to be consistently middle, lower middle. I'm sure their fans would hit me for being like, what's their personality? What's their draw? What's special about Guangzhou?
To be real, I don't know either. And
they just kind of slide right off my radar.
Two teams that are on pretty much everyone's radar, though. Gladiators versus Titans.
Out of sheer habit, I'm going to give this to the Titans.
I'm giving it to Titans, too, because I think, again, they have something to prove. I think that maybe they'll stick to their guns a little bit more, having, once bitten, twice shy. Maybe just kind of keep it in their wheelhouse while they polish things up and go from there.
For the most part, when the top-tier teams lose, they tend to come back screaming. And I think that that's going to be the case here. And as good as the Gladiators are, I don't think they can handle the Titans coming back, raring to start another win streak.
When they are coming to clap.
Yeah.
After that, London Spitfire versus San Francisco Shock. I'm going Shock.
Same.
Houston versus Toronto.
Houston.
Because,
again, Toronto is just kind of like, who are you? What do you bring to the table? Who are these people?
I would like to point out, though, after a stage of calling Houston the worst team in the league, and I stand by that they were at the time, I'm voting for Houston.
Yeah. I mean, you also did against the Justice.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Giannis is playing 420 mode, so...
Yeah.
Which everyone going, weed? I'm like, nah, that's a holdover from Five Nights at Freddy's. At least in my vernacular.
And up last, Chengdu versus Seoul. I'm going Seoul.
Oh, Tigers and Bears. I'm going Chengdu.
I'm sticking with Seoul because Chengdu has beaten nobody that isn't the Fuel.
I firmly believe in the crazy people. I wish they'd play more Bacon Jack. I miss him.
Yeah.
But I firmly believe in the completely bonkers do it for the no longer existent Vine team. Like, I'm in. Let's do it. Fans.
The fucking sim attack on Havana. I'm sorry, that hurt my estimation of them because I legitimately... There are a lot of times where I will be see a comp and go, oh, that's really cool. That's awesome. I get the idea behind that, even if it's not standard or if it doesn't work. It's like, oh, well, the idea there's cool. I have no fucking idea what in the pluperfect hell they were even thinking there. I don't know what Papega-ass team that worked against in a scrim that they're like, you know what? Let's take it to fucking Vancouver. Let's fucking go.
I mean,
let's do this. Pull this shit out the pocket.
It probably either worked against Florida or Washington.
Or Fuel.
Or Fuel. See, we're both able to make fun of our teams when they're not doing well.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It hurts our hearts a little bit, but we'll do it.
But we've been sports fans for long enough that we can handle this shit.
Also, I was a fan of Envious, who after winning MLG Vegas and Apex Season 1 back-to-back were just for a while.
And I mean, like I said, I have been a fan of Colorado sports teams for a decade and a half at least. So that's Broncos at their best and their worst. That is Rockies at their best and their worst. And that's Air Force football, who spends more time at their worst than at their best. I lived through the Fissure to Barry years, and let me tell you, that was a capital E experience.
I grew up watching the Jets.
Oh, honey.
I'm also a Yankees fan, so.
Yeah, I mean, I equate that to being an NYXL fan. You're fond of a team that is going to do very well and is very popular, and also from New York.
Okay.
They have their rough stretches.
Okay.
Every team has their rough stretches.
Hold the fucking phone. Because as much as I love the Yankees, I'm gonna fucking counter what you just said for a second. Very popular. What fucking people, aside from Yankees fans, like the Yankees? Because every fan of every other team in the entire fucking MLB looks at the Yankees and just kind of, at best, goes, those fuckers. Like...
Most people outside of sports can name a number of baseball teams.
Yeah.
Couldn't really... Hey, what state are the Diamondbacks from?
Yeah, fair enough.
What state are the Yankees from? Everyone knows. Everyone fucking knows the Yankees.
That doesn't mean they pull for them. That when you say popular, it doesn't mean that people... at least in my mind, it doesn't mean that people are aware of who they are. That just means well-known. Or renowned.
Point.
Popular means that people like or support them. And I feel like outside of their turf, the Yankees probably enjoy the least, widespread support among other teams' fan bases.
But it's also a well-funded New York team that's been highly successful more often than not.
I'm not saying that they don't have a reason to not like the Yankees or feel like, whatever they feel. I am saying that is the case.
Point.
At which point, although I will say, whenever Mets fans pull that, they're like, you guys just buy your team, and I'm like, yeah, well, which one of us invested with Bernie fucking Madoff? Because it was the fucking Mets. I'm not making that up.
Who own NYXL.
Yeah, who own NYXL. Well, Jeff Wilpon hasn't Metsed it up yet. I'm surprised you didn't enjoy that pun. Oh, fuck you.
I didn't get it.
I'm saying he didn't Mets it up.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. Anyway.
The fucking vinegar is coming out this podcast.
Does esports always parallel RL sports? Nah, well, sometimes. I'll tell you what, being a sports fan in real life prepares you for esports, though, because, oh.
Well, to be fair...
Again, I lived through the Fissure to Barry years, and no one listening to this podcast knows what that means.
I don't even fucking know what that means.
Exactly. College sports. Who knows what... It's like... Being a fan of college sports is like being a fan of Contenders. There's a good number of people who love it, but very specific people in very specific ways. And in the larger realms of the sport, you'll get some recognition if you're bigger, but if you're not bigger, people are going to go, the fuck?
Pretty much. Pretty much. And I say that as a Contenders fan. Which, by the way, fucking watch Contenders.
Yeah.
Fusion University versus Runaway was a fucking amazing match, full of people that you're going to be seeing in Overwatch League sooner rather than later. Do yourselves a favor. Watch that shit.
Watch the rerun, because it sure as hell started at 4 a.m.
Contenders Korea. It's a thing.
Yes. Yes, I remember the World Cup trials being in fucking Paris and starting at 1 a.m. And I'm like, I'm going to bed. I'll catch the reruns.
Imagine when Apex was a thing and they would have games 3 nights a week that late. And that was, before Overwatch League, the biggest, most competitive tournament in the world.
And that is why God gave us VOD.
I stayed up to watch it more often than not.
I didn't.
That's how I knew who the fuck Kareev was before Overwatch League.
And now I'm just like, he puts way too much cheese in everything, but I love him.
There is no such goddamn thing.
Okay, he doesn't know how to sprinkle cheese evenly.
Okay, I'll accept that.
I fucking love gamer snacks.
As someone who's worked in like a restaurant kitchen and who puts a lot of effort into my cooking at home, it hurts my soul a little bit just because I'm like, no, you can be doing this so much better. But at the same time, that's not why you're here.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
They're cooking at the level of other gamers. You have been trained and you know your shit.
Oh yeah, well that like I said, it hurts my heart on the level of someone who knows how to cook and has done it professionally and takes pride in it. However, at the same time, I'm not watching this for recipes I'm going to emulate. I'm watching it to watch a very wholesome yet questionable friendship.
They're wonderful, though. The quesadilla that's like, guess it's a burrito now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a beautiful cooking train wreck, and I love that the recipes are getting more and more complicated when it's supposed to be like, these are things that gamers can make. And I'm like, you're adding things that most gamers don't have in their apartments anymore. Like baking soda.
Well, yeah, but in that case, I'm going to say to the gamers what needs to be said.
Level up.
Get good.
Yeah.
Learn how to take care of your goddamn selves. You will be happier for it.
And I mean, now they have things like not fresh and easy, freshly. What the fuck is the thing that sends meals to your door? There's like 10 of them. There's Blue Apron. There's one that has fresh in it. I keep getting emails from them. But there are many, many ways to take care of yourself that don't necessarily involve leaving. There's Postmates or DoorDash or Uber Eats or whichever flavor of that you have in your community. Mm-hmm. Or if you need a salad, you can get them to bring you a salad.
Or if you need
Please eat some salad.
Or if you need alcohol, go to Drizzly.
I mean, Postmates will also do that.
True.
I was drunk on St. Patrick's Day and didn't have any green liquor, and I made them bring me a bottle of Midori, and it was great.
Postmates charges too much, though.
It depends. Yeah, but...
I like how immediately you back down on that.
Here's the thing about Postmates, and this is something I've discovered driving for them for a little while, and then figuring out the difference between that, DoorDash, and I don't use Uber Eats, there's another, Grubhub. Postmates is the only delivery service I have seen, because again, I don't use Uber Eats, can't vouch, that does not have a distance limit. So if you want something to be a little cheaper in terms of delivery charges and whatnot, and it's relatively close by, you do Grubhub, you do DoorDash, you do something within 5 miles. But if you're in Burbank and you want cookies from that one place on Wilshire, and you know it's gonna be a 40-minute drive, you do Postmates. Because it is worth the extra fees not to have an hour and a half round trip out of your day.
However,
things I have actually done.
Oh, no, I feel this.
Also, if you're in LA, for the love of God, order from the milk jar.
However, I will say this. I've also had Postmates cancel on me. I've never had that happen with Grubhub or any of the others.
Admittedly, I had Postmates cancel on me twice, and both times I was ordering from a restaurant that was closed. They weren't marked as closed.
Yeah.
But they were.
Yeah, but I've had it for other situations that were not a closed restaurant. So, now that we've reviewed delivery apps.
Gamer delivery.
Yeah. That'd be an amazing parody show of just sitting on a counter just like have the camera sitting on the counter, just like order your food, just kind of wait, just like jump cut to like random shenanigans while you're waiting for the food, and then that's it. And then just say at the end, to order this you need, an account, a credit card, and a Kareev.
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah, we should maybe we do that.
Nah, I'd Postmates people don't consent to being filmed. Don't film people without their consent.
Who said we were going to film them?
That's true.
We just come back in with the bags.
That's true. Anyway, we can afford to get off topic because this is one of the shortest episodes we've ever done.
I told you, we do this my way. We get it done.
It's also because we had 3 weeks worth of things to go through and we didn't stop to talk about anything while we did.
Which is what I wanted us to do. We went with my play and it worked. Let me have this.
It's yours. Ta-da!
Yay, I get pride.
Which leaves me feeling like we've missed things. I mean, there's always the rumor about Overwatch 2, but...
Yeah, but until something happens with that, I'm not gonna consider that really worth of our time to get into.
Yeah. And I mean, until otherwise confirmed, still just rumor. You know what we didn't talk about?
Bap?
Jonak skin.
Oh, fuck!
How did we not talk about the octopus?
Yo.
Motherfucking octopus.
Yes.
I love that Jonak's just like, do octopus. Do all the octopus. And it worked. And that's actually a really good Zenyatta skin.
It is. It's a really cool skin.
I was not expecting
also,
it to work
I like
as well
now
as
that we
it did.
have 2 octopus theme Zen skins because
Admittedly,
Cthulhu
one
face.
is more Cthulhu.
Yeah, but still, it's like octopus biology.
Quote unquote cultist, because let's not give Lovecraft any more money.
I mean, to be fair, it's all public domain now, isn't it?
It might be. I don't know.
Also, the man himself is dead, and I'm going to assume that his descendants have changed with the times.
That his descendants aren't as horrifyingly racist as he was.
H.P. Lovecraft is... I'm gonna steal a quote from a YouTuber, and I can't remember their name, otherwise I'd shout them out right now. But they did a very good thing about like Lovecraft's fiction, and they said to say that H.P. Lovecraft had issues is inaccurate. He's more of a bundle of issues in vaguely humanoid shape.
H.P. Lovecraft is the guy that people were pointing out, that his compatriots were pointing out as racist in an age where racism was normal.
In the 20s.
Yeah, where racism was normalized.
And, yeah, H.P. Lovecraft does incredible stuff in
more
the sense
overtly
of,
than it is today.
Yeah, in the realm of cosmic horror and defined an entire genre and is ridiculously significant, but holy shit.
When one of your plot twists is that your main character was a person of color the whole time, and that's the horror of it, like, shut the fuck up.
I can only imagine, like, his therapy sessions, if he ever had them.
I'm sure he did not.
Must have been insane.
I'm sure he did not, or if he did, it was like trendy Freudian shit.
Yeah, I can just imagine, though, like, his wife, like, coming home one day and just seeing him, like, shuddering in the corner in a blanket, and they're like, "What's wrong, Howard?" And he's just like, "Misogyny." Like...
Yeah, H.P. Lovecraft, man. Yeah, not unlike Freud. Something where pioneered the field, you learn what they were about, but you don't really practice it anymore. Just saying.
And also, weren't Freud's last words saying the other guy was right?
I don't remember. Something like that. I will say that everyone...
I'm looking it up.
I will say that everyone remembers where they were when they learned what the name of H.P. Lovecraft's cat was.
Oh, God.
We are not saying it on air. You are welcome to Google it if you want. Do not Google it at work.
Yeah.
Or any place where your browsing is monitored.
Yeah.
It's, H.P. Lovecraft had problems, you guys. That said, that's a hell of a Zenyatta skin. And the octopus one, I just loved them interviewing Jonak and him saying, well, for the orbs, I wanted the octopi to be on the outside, but they look really good on the inside, too.
Yeah.
Like, inside the bubbles. And, like, did you just want to, like, throw an octopus and show that someone is discorded by having a purple octopus, like, stuck to their face?
The answer is probably yes.
Could we do that? That would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. I will
Not
say,
possible within the engine of the game, but amazing.
I will say, I genuinely love that he's got the octopus theme now, because when I got into esports was watching StarCraft, and there was a player named Lenok who was known for having incredibly high APM, actions per minute. So, what Diva is talking about.
Yeah.
And he, one of his nicknames and things that would show up in fan art a lot was Lean Octopus, because there was no fucking way someone with 2 hands could do this much.
And now it's Jonak. So I know there's already talk about who could be the MVP of Season 2. And I know that everyone's kind of got their lists, and I don't really want to talk about that till we get towards the end of Stage 3 and kind of see how things shake out. I want to know, and this is also something to...
seen the rain?
Only infrequently. It is California.
It's LA specifically.
LA specifically, but nonetheless. And this is also for people in the comments or on the Twitters or wherever you'd like to do this. What does your MVP skin look like? What character would you put it on? What would you design it after? What would you do? And I'm not expecting an answer right now because this is something that requires some thought. I'd say maybe a little more thought than Custa gave it on today's Custa News Network.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
I like the man, but cardboard wings. That occurred. They basically put him on the spot, as they are wont to do on CNN. And it was very much the result of being put on the spot. It was funny as hell. But it was obviously we are leaning so far into this joke that we are horizontal. So,
yeah,
I want to know what everyone's, what your MVP skin would look like. Bonus points for art. Put it in the comments. Tweet us. We have that Twitter that we need to use a little more often.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we'll talk about some of our favorites on the next episode.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
And that also gives us a week to figure out what the hell we're doing.
Oh, I already know.
Because I posed this question, now I'm like, shit.
I already know what I would do.
Well, I know mine would probably be either a Mercy or a Zen skin, but then the question becomes, what?
Oh, I have my answer.
Save it for next week.
All right.
Save it for next week.
All right.
Alrighty, well, I think that is all we have. I'm sure there is much that we missed, but fuck it. We have to live up to expectations.
Yeah, that's true.
People getting on this is a short episode. They're covering 3 weeks in a short episode? Did they lose half the file?
I mean, I just lost a computer.
Oh, I'll press F in chat for CJ's computer.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll res it.
I've spent nearly $300 fixing it so far.
Heroes never die.
Yeah, but my fucking bank account does.
Press F in chat. Press F in chat.
It's
F,
so
F, 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 F.
sad. Can we get 50 likes?
Alexa, that's so sad. Alexa, play Despacito.
I for a second, I'm like, is Becca's plugged in right now, please?
Look, on my YouTube channel, we will occasionally, because we do have an Alexa unit right above where we record, so I will absolutely lean back and tell Alexa to play something, knowing that whoever is watching the video without headphones on, that it will trigger their Alexa unit as well, and I regret nothing. I think our latest one was, Alexa, play You Dropped a Bomb on Me.
Have you ever seen, there's this video of a streamer who's playing Fortnite, and he's playing it for 14 hours, and he doesn't get a win for 14 hours, and eventually just, without even ending the stream, just walks away, and while he's off screen, a guy donates, and the chat was like, you've set the Guinness World Record for longest time playing Fortnite without a win. Alexa, play All I Do Is Win. And then it started playing in the empty room.
Because of the automatic reader?
Yeah,
oh
because
God.
of the fucking text-to-speech.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna show you this as soon as we're clear of recording. Everyone just go watch that. You'll find it. I believe in you.
Oh, that is a thing of wonder and glory.
All I do is win.
So, yes, press F in chat for CJ's computer. We will res it as soon as we can.
Yep.
In the meantime, where can the people find you?
At _rage_nerd on Twitter and on Overwatch Pretenders. I am a main tank player there for Mercury Cougars. And we're in the playoffs. And if I can get my computer working, we have our semifinals match against Night Ops, and then hopefully we make it to the finals. I would like very much to walk away as a grand champion and increase my list of accolades within the server. But it's an improvement-based league. You can come, you can play on teams. We've got divisions for people platinum or lower, and then, platinum to diamond. Come play, join pugs, just get involved.
Have fun. Do the thing.
If you ever wanted to play in a competitive, structured environment, this is a really great place for it. Partnered with a bunch of other leagues, so it's a great gateway for you to get involved in to find a team to join.
Yes. Do the thing. Win the stuff. Win the games. Win every game. Not the point of playing, but still fun. I'm Katie. You can follow me all over the social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. If you like reaction videos, if you like all sorts of weird fun shit, they live on that YouTube channel, as well as another project that may or may not be starting depending on how much time and energy I have in the coming weeks. That will be Overwatch related, so keep an eye out for that, but also don't hold your breath. It's the most lackluster product announcement I think I've ever done, but that is life. I am also on a podcast team called The Rooster Team. We cover all sorts of Rooster Teeth stuff, namely animation. We are currently doing the Camp Counselor's Corner, which is a Camp after show. And if you're not watching Camp, you need to. Holy shit, it's like South Park, except better animated. And I want to say less crude, you give a fuck about the Camp characters and it has heart. It's animated adult comedy starring kids in a similar vein to South Park, but it's, in my opinion, so goddamn much better and not nearly as horrifyingly cynical. So I highly recommend Camp. It's on Verve, it's on Rooster Teeth, and it's a season behind on YouTube because YouTube doesn't pay people. So do that. Follow us. We are at On The Point Pod on Twitter. We actually are on SoundCloud, but that's not what I meant to say. Anchor.fm/onthepoint. We should start using that Twitter a little more often just to shoot the shit. Feel free to shoot the shit with us on that Twitter. And supporting our sponsor supports us, so head over to fredsbs.com, fredsbs.com, and use coupon code ONTHEPOINT for 20% off your entire order. As a reminder, that website is going dark to be redone, but it will be up again in a soonish manner. Follow the FredsBS Twitter and Instagram for more updates. I think that's about all we have. Remember to tell us what your MVP skins would be. Bonus points for fan art. If you have art, feel free to throw it at our Twitter and we'll take a look.
Yeah.
I think that's all we got, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's see 9.